We have nothing to do with the Queen. Today, people tweet, hey, we mourn the Queen. But when Helen Zyle tweeted and said that not everything is bad about colonialism, you all said Helen Zille is a racist. How can she praise colonialism? By mourning and praising the Queen, you are celebrating colonialism.
Fam, when I tell you Twitter is in shambles, like, wow. People are arguing with one another. People have strong opinions on this. And it's just it feels like a battlefield if you go to Twitter and see, especially, I believe, the Irish Twitter. All this is happening after the death of Queen Elizabeth II. The world is mourning her, but not everyone feels the same way. So if you want to see more of what's going on Twitter, go ahead and scroll down. You'll see what I mean. But for now, I want to read for you a statement that was released by EFF, Julius Malema's party. We'll come back and discuss. They wrote this on September 8, 2022. The EFF statement on the death of Queen Elizabeth. The Economic Freedom Fighters notes the death of Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor, the Queen of the United Kingdom and the ceremonial head of state of several countries that were colonized by the United Kingdom. Elizabeth ascended to the throne in 1952, reigning for 70 years as a head of institution built up, sustained, and living off of a brutal legacy of dehumanization of millions of people across the world. We do not mourn the death of Elizabeth because to us, her death is a reminder of a very tragic period in this country and Africa's history. Britain, under the leadership of the royal family, took over control of this territory that would become South Africa in 1795 from Batavian control and took permanent control of the territory in 1806. From that moment onwards, native people of this land have never known peace, nor have they ever enjoyed the fruits of the riches of this land. Riches which were and still are utilized for the enrichment of the British royal family and those who look like them. From 1811, when Sir John Cradock declared war against Amakosa in the Zurwild in what is now known as the Eastern Cape up until 1906, when the British crushed the Bambatha Rebellion, our interaction with Britain under the leadership of the British royal family has been one of pain and suffering, of death and dispossession, and of dehumanization of African people. We remember how Zyle died in the aftermath of the Fifth Frontier War, how King Hintsa was killed like a dog on the 11th of May 1835 during the Sixth Frontier War, and had his body and his head taken to Britain as a trophy. It was also the British royal family that sanctioned the actions of Cecil John Rhodes, who plundered this country, Zimbabwe and Zambia. It was the British royal family that benefited from the brutal of people of Kenya, whose valiant resistance to British colonialism invited vile response from Britain. In Kenya, Britain built concentration camps and suppressed with such inhumane brutality the Mau Mau rebellion, killing Dedan Kimathi on the 18th of February 1957, while Elizabeth was already queen. This family plundered India via the East India Company. It took over control and oppressed the people of the Caribbean islands. Their thirst for riches led to the famine that caused millions of people to die in Bengal, and their racism led to the genocide of the Aboriginal people in Australia. Elizabeth Windsor, during her lifetime, never acknowledged these crimes that Britain and her family in particular perpetrated across the world. In fact, she was a proud flag bearer of these atrocities because during her reign, when the people of Yemen rose to protest against British colonialism in 1963, Elizabeth ordered a brutal suppression of that uprising. During her 70-year reign as queen, she never once acknowledged the atrocities that her family inflicted on native people that Britain invaded across the world. She willingly benefited from the wealth that was attained from the exploitation and murder of millions of people across the world. The British royal family stands on the shoulders of millions of slaves who were shipped away from the continent to serve the interests of racist white capital accumulation, at the center of which lies the British royal family. If there is really life and justice after death, may Elizabeth and her ancestors get what they deserve. Issued by the Economic Freedom Fighters. Whew, that was a lot to read. But surprisingly, this is not the toughest statement I read or tweet. The Irish Twitter, when I tell you, are out there celebrating, like literally. Go ahead and check it out. But I've also noticed when people from Africa, like Mugabe when he died, or Gaddafi when he died, journalists and Western media and governments were celebrating it, were calling them out, were saying, how are you sad or mourning for this men when they're dying, when, they're dictators, they're this and that. Nobody said anything, but now when, for example, EFF is saying this, they are coming at them. Or I've seen one professor, I believe in the US, tweeted out something and people were really harassing her. So my thing is, if you didn't find any issue with like someone like Piers Morgan calling Mugabe a dictator and a vile person, that, just calling him all the names in the book when he died, when you didn't have a problem with that, when people are mourning his death, then I think this should not bother you. At least, be consistent. Anyways, fam, let me know down below what your thoughts are about people's response to Queen Elizabeth II's death. I am Zyle. I'll see you on the next one. Stay blessed. Bye.